that it? Okay, Sandra, we're ready. It's 6:10.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We call the meeting in order at 6:10. Let's start with the invocation and a pledge. So who would like to say the pledge?
I'll say the pledge.
Okay, the pledge, and then you'll say the prayer, Ken? Okay, thank you. Are you doing the invocation?
Pledge first. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father in heaven, we come to you before tonight's meeting begins and just want to ask you and thank you for blessing us in our daily lives. We ask for guidance tonight in our meeting and just fill us with your wisdom. Help us to be faithful in our service to you and also to our community. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Thank you. So do we have any citizens' comments?
No, we do not.
Okay. So no citizens' comments, so we move on to the consent agenda. So if you want to look over the minutes for February the 11th and look those over, see if we have any changes to those or comments. Okay. Does anybody have any modifications or changes? No? So let's go ahead and go to the financials.
So this report is through February 28th of 2025. Sales tax was received in February for the month of December, and the EDC received $132,532, which is a decrease when compared to the same month last year. Currently, EDC has received $47,452 less in sales tax when compared to the same time period last fiscal year. As of February 28th, the revenues were over expenditures by $195,865. The EDC Projects Fund has a fund balance of $781,049, and the EDC Marketing Fund has a fund balance of $106,560, and the TERS Fund has a fund balance of $895,810. And I also included two notes. On March 4th, Robert, Rachel, myself, and our staff accountant, Lily, met, and we discussed the budget, trying to get a little bit better financial transparency across all department budgets. In doing so, I felt it was better if we started breaking out things that we could into more detailed line items. So we created a service contracts line item and a software contracts line item within the EDC budget. Currently, that money was already there in the budget in their professional services line. So we just moved what they would normally spend from that line over to fund those new lines. Just at a glance, it helps us better understand where the money's going. And then it was also discovered that we had originally paid the Riverfest fireworks out of Fund 31, and so we did correct that and get that paid out of Fund 33, so it did result in a little bit different balances than what we reported as of the end of January. And that was all I have, unless anyone has questions.
Do we know what the difference is between last year and this year? Just out of curiosity, why Why it's such a big difference?
The decrease in the sales tax?
Yes.
So we actually had a meeting with the comptroller's office a couple of months ago, and essentially what they said was that we were seeing record high sales tax numbers, and that it was expected to start slowing
Okay.
back
That is
down.
true, yeah.
Okay, I was just
Yeah.
curious, thank you.
Yeah, the city's seeing it as well.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't publicly thank Ashley and Lily. They've done a lot of hard work on our behalf, and Lily in particular helped us get a problem straightened out with our electricity bill. It was credited to somebody else's account, and then we had to call the number over and over, and then I wasn't there, so they said you can't talk to you, and I had to come down, and it's just a mess. And she was in much better humor than I was, but we did get that taken care of, and I think we've got a good partnership with Ashley and Lily, and I appreciate them.
Yeah, we appreciate you too. I
Yeah.
think we've all kind of hit our groove, and we're rocking and rolling now, so.
So,
Okay.
good.
Anyone else have questions? You had no questions?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, so do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Moving forward, let's see, let me get to the agenda again. For first on the topic number 1, discuss and review downtown and Main Street updates.
You gotta vote on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda
Yes.
across the board?
David.
Yeah,
Yes.
I made the motion, Ken seconded it.
Yes, I had got that. And do we have a approval across the board? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, moving forward to the discussion and action. So on number 1, the discussion, can we move it back down on the screen? We already did citizens' comments. We did citizens' comments, there wasn't any.
We're at discussion and action.
We already passed that, Ron. We didn't have any citizens' comments.
No.
So number 1, do we have discussed and reviewed downtown and Main Street updates.
Yes, Madam President, tonight I'll do this because unfortunately I am sad to report that Wade resigned from the Main Street position last week. So, we appreciate the diligent work that he's done with us. And I'm still in discussions with him about the program. Irene, the president, had a meeting with me today. Because of my background, obviously, she just wanted some advice and to talk and how to move forward. And I've also talked to Lance. Lance is not here this week, but he's on spring break, but he'll be back next week, and just kind of how to move forward, who we need next, et cetera. So the meeting for, the Main Street meeting that was scheduled for, I believe it was March 20th, I might be wrong, March 20th has been canceled. So, and then we'll pick it back up in April. And also, again, this is gonna be Lance's call, but I'm doubtful that there, normally we help sponsor the Cinco de Mayo festival. I'm doubtful that it will happen this year because of who's there to put it together. So anyway, we're gonna get through this, but yeah, Wade resigned. We're working with Sandra Woodwicki on her building and getting it built, and right now she's in a subcontract with Chris Duncan to do some work on the building, and so I'm just we're talking to her about how that's going, and we had, as you know, myself, the EDC and code enforcement and Main Street meet. It used to be every 2 weeks. It's now every week. And so we had been working with her, and we're working on that. Also, Lance and I received a letter from Rashawn W. I can never pronounce his last name, but Rashawn, our friend that owns the Ocean Food Market. And he was asking for a tax, under Chapter 380, a tax incentive. Lance asked me if I could put something together, and I basically put together a graduated, your director's report, it talks a little bit about that, it graduated tax. And the reason for that, and I was talking to the mayor about this a minute ago, is that we've certainly identified the downtown as an area that's in need of revitalization. And so there's defensible logic of giving a Chapter 380 agreement tax abatement. And he's definitely performed the work. And kind of the reasoning for this is building owners make improvements to their building, and then the drawback to that, if that's the correct word, is that your taxes, it's reappraised and they go up immediately. So to ease that and kind of gently lower yourself into the pool, you do what's known as a graduated tax abatement. And that would be, and this is just city taxes, by the way, and it's pending council approval, but you'd get 0% the first year, 75% second, 50, 25, and then you're on your own. And so that's a graduated rate, so they don't experience the shock of instant, reappraisal and a high appraisal. So we worked on that. Also, the issue of separating the board is still out there. We also met with Dino, and pardon me, I don't remember his last name, but he definitely, huh? Is that his last name?
No, it's like,
It starts with an M, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Morgan.
Merrigan? Okay, thank you. We met with him, and that was Code, Main Street, and EDC, about doing some, he's an investor and a developer, and so he's got properties in Freeport and also is interested in development, so we've had discussions with him. Also met with Jason Williams, not at the same time, but he's another investor. We put him in contact with the owner of the property at 131 West Broad, and they're talking, and he's also interested in downtown development, and we looked at the 8.8 acres. So that's my briefing for Main Street. Again, we appreciate all the work that Wade did, and we appreciate him, and we'll miss him. And moving forward, I'll keep you posted on when we get a new manager and et cetera. Oh, but keep in mind the meeting for March is canceled.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that update. So moving on, number 2, discuss and update the hotel visibility and study site visit.
As you recall, we approved a hotel feasibility study, and that's Core Distinction Group. Jessica Junker she lives in Wisconsin. She will be here tomorrow, and she apologizes. As you see in your packet, the date, I don't know what the deal was, but she kept getting snowed in and couldn't fly. So the 2 times we made the date, it canceled. But we're going to see her tomorrow. She's in town right now, and she'll be in the office at 8:30. And Lance has promised me that I'll have access to his SUV, city SUV, to take her around in. So that, yeah, exactly. I'm in tall cotton. So we'll do that, and she'll be here tomorrow, and I'll keep you apprised with that. But do know it was delayed a little bit because she had 2 canceled flights.
Okay. All right, thank you. So moving on, number 3, discuss and take possible action on Sitting Bull Business Improvement Grant.
Yes, Holden Ezel is here tonight from the building department, sometimes known as code enforcement, and we have another update to our friends at Sitting Bull. Holden? I think it's on.
So basically, the contractor who was for the stucco and the electrical that was there has pulled his license due to some discrepancies. I don't know. Well, I know the exact amount, but I'm not going to say. And so the stucco contract permit is now currently on hold until they get a new contractor to pull the permit or come back and go through again with the permits.
Basically, yes, and if you recall, last month, we had that issue, and then Mr. Steed signed that he would do, the subcontractor that she originally was gonna, or the contractor she was originally was gonna use was not, didn't have the insurance and all the qualifications to be authorized by the city, which you have to be. And also, we had that issue where the job was claimed at $1,000, but on our contract, on our grant, it was 21,000, and that was corrected. And then Mr. Steed said, I will, he'll work under me and I'll get all the approved. Well, as you can see in your packet, he wrote an email to Shelby and said, not anymore. And so immediately, that was February 28th, work stop was put on, and as Holden was just saying, they now have from Penny Electric, a new contractor that is authorized and has a permit to do the electrical, but that still leaves us with who's gonna do the facade work for the grant. So again, Holden and I just wanted to update you. We're not gonna give any money or anything like that, but I do feel that it's important to keep you apprised of these developments. There's no need to yank the grant or anything like that, but we're just working through this. Where now they've got a contractor that can do the electrical, but they still need one for the facade. And so I'm sure Lorinda is going to get that, but she hasn't yet, and still working through that.
Yes,
Do you have anything to add?
As of today, I checked it right before I came in, the contract is still voided or on hold until we get the contractor or a new contractor to come in and go ahead and wants to do the work for it.
Right.
Or allow the contractor currently doing the work there to subcontract his license, but as of this moment, that has not happened.
Right. And let me just say two more things. Remember, as with last month, this does not impact the fire suppression system. That's still going. Jason, the fire marshal, is working with that. Everything's a go with that. And it may, I'm just saying it may necessitate an extension, because they have 6 months to finish the work. And I'll just say, this is not Lorinda's fault. This is just, she's gotten some difficulties with contractors. So it would be my advice to the board that if it does come to that, we extend this if necessary. We're not at that point, but I'm just saying that for the record tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for that update. So moving on, number 4, discuss an update on progress with wayfinding information.
Okay, and this one, more than anything, I need advice. I was delighted after our last meeting to receive a lot of very positive calls. George Matamoras, the mayor, and it occurred to me through these discussions that we had gone down that we as a city had gone down this path before. And I think, David, you talked about that too. And Anna had sent me some of the stuff that we had done. And when we were reaching out and Rachel was reaching out to companies to get estimates, they said, where do you need, how many signs do you need? Well, at the state, when I worked with wayfinding, the people the company would always typically would do this is where the sign is needed, this is where the sign, and it's good to have outside eyes, because they're the ones that are like, you need a sign here, you need a sign here, etc. But through reaching out to these companies, we found out that and correct me if I'm misstating anything, that there's kind of a 2-track system. There's the cities that say, we know where the signs are gonna go, and then there's the cities that say, hey, we'd like help on a comprehensive sign wayfinding approach. And so I guess I have 2 questions. Number 1, anybody with the institutional knowledge from when we did this before, did we get that far in the process where we identified where these wayfinding signs were gonna go. Was it a comprehensive one? Was it just for the downtown? If I could get some kind of clarity on that, I'd appreciate it.
I'll call Leanne again, but we did. The company that came and did this, they had a bunch of them all over town. So they were listed with little dots on a map as to where they felt the signs would be best placed.
So do we know who has the report on that? Like, where's the report or
Now,
the?
Leanne had one. I don't know where it's at. I'll have to see if she still has a copy of it. If not, it should be on the museum's computer system somewhere.
Like a folder? Do
Yeah.
y'all have
Right.
access to like a folder
Well,
for
I
the
can
museum?
talk to Wade about, Wade's still at the
Now,
museum
Wade
for the
did
time
send me
being.
some stuff that was in a file that belonged to Leanne, but it was not that map. But there is a map out there
There's a
somewhere.
map out there.
And that's what Mr. Kelty balked at, was, oh, no,
No.
we're not going there, so.
Okay, well, that is very helpful because at least we can check, and then we can also check old emails. I can have
Right.
our IT friend Toby.
I'm glad
do-
you said that, because
yeah.
she sent it to me, so I might have it in an old email. as well.
Okay, if you could check, I mean,
Okay.
that would be great to have because then we don't need we got the placement already.
Right.
Has
So-
really nothing's really changed in that time frame. How long ago was that? About 5 years ago?
4 or 5 years, yes.
Okay. So, I mean, that study probably would still be pretty accurate.
Okay, so
Yeah, true,
Yeah, City Hall.
the city hall.
So moving forward, what I'll do, if you'd be kind enough
Yeah,
to
I'll look and
thoroughly
see.
check
Yep.
your emails, and I'll have Toby do a search, and I'll reach out to Wade to see if the museum, if there's anything else. I mean, but, I know Anna sent me, and Wade also sent me what we've got, but
Right.
nowhere was there a placement map.
Yeah, there's a map out there somewhere.
But that'll save a lot of money
Right. Oh, yeah.
if we don't need that. So that's what I'll do. I'll report back to you next month as we progress with this issue. Thank you a million for that guidance.
Was there a second question?
Well, there was gonna be,
Oh, okay.
but now that you've answered that, no, there's no more
Okay, just-
questions.
just
I know what to
making
do
sure.
now.
Just
So
making sure.
if there is a second question, it'll be next month. Thank you.
So this, what you're showing on here on the monitor, is that for just the signs themselves, right? Not the designation of where the signs would go? This, where it shows this designer, and what is this slide?
So the top portion is the designers, they would provide the map of like where it would go, what type of signs, all that information, kind of like a study. And that's their price. The bottom part is just the fabricators. So if we have from Mr. McGinty what Leanne did, and it has where to go and what type of signs to use, then we don't have to go with the designer. We can just
Oh,
send
okay.
that to the fabricator and say, this is what we want. But if we don't have that, then there's the pricing for
For the
3
top.
designers.
Right.
2 of them are located here in Texas, one's out of state. And the Clark Condon is the one that did the Angleton rebranding. So we've got a couple of their quotes there. But it's
Okay.
all dependent on if we can get that study that was done previous.
Okay.
I have a
Thank you.
question.
Mhm.
Before we get off too far into the signs, are we gonna do the rebranding? Because I think that would need to be first.
Lance is still kind of thinking about that, but I asked him, how large do we want this to be,
Right.
know? And of course, with rebranding comes an enormous expense. So again, we can definitely go out and get estimates for rebranding, because I do know, Lance isn't here to speak for himself, but I have heard him say before, and I've heard many people, myself included, that think the current logo is a little too busy and, we could use a rebranding. So, that would be obviously a decision because, we would definitely need help. It's a joint project as
Right.
it is, but it would really need to be a joint
Right.
project at that point.
Just checking again.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay. Number 5, discuss the ethics policy.
Yes, Shonda called late Friday or emailed, I believe, Rachel on Friday and just said, please add the ethics policy to the agenda there was no explanation, so I don't know why. We approved an ethics policy in November. It's in force. I'm sorry, September. And it's in force, and it's been voted on by the board. I got no guidance. There you see the minutes where we approved it. So I don't know why this is on there or what she had in mind, but we visited this issue and made a decision, and I can't really say anything further except for we voted on it, it's done.
Okay. David, did she maybe give you any insight on it when she told you she wouldn't make it?
No,
Okay.
she just sent me an email
Okay.
today.
So, okay. So I guess we just table that? Move it for, okay, move on, okay. So number 6, discuss an update on the retail strategies.
Yes, the retail strategies, unfortunately, Shonda had wanted us, and I agree, that at some point they need to come and maybe address the board as to where they are and recap. Now, we have a meeting internally with them every month. Unfortunately, in February, we did not, because the meeting, we schedule it for the third Monday of every month, and that fell on President's Day, and everybody was off, and so we were never able to reschedule. However, they sent the ICSC Red River recap, and these are the folks that they talk to, that they're in discussion with, that they're reaching out to. You see a lot of it. It's not, as I've said before, it's not mom and pops. It's more chains and larger brands. But this is a summary of what they've been doing, and they're also going to help set up meetings for Las Vegas and meeting with people. I'm also going to reach out to who I consider a friend, which is David Kahn, if you remember from Dollar General. David's he was instrumental in helping us set up a lot of meetings and opening a lot of doors for us when we were in Las Vegas. So, to my knowledge, certainly these are the people that they talk to at Red River, and they are also setting up. There's a lot of work that goes into, as you two know, the ICSC in Las Vegas, and they're going to be instrumental. Retail Strategies is going to be instrumental in setting up the meetings and the visits that we have with the retailers there.
Okay. Thank you for that update. Does anyone have any questions on the update? Okay. So moving on, it looks like we're now to comments from the board. Moving on pretty fast here. So Ron, do you have any comments?
I just have a question. We had talked about, sorry. I have a question. We had talked at the last meeting about the alleys downtown.
That's coming to my director's report.
Okay,
Yes.
then I have nothing else.
Okay, Ron. Okay, David, do you have any comments?
Not much. Hopefully wintertime is over, and maybe we could get some kind of joint meeting set up with code to discuss the business of the month kind of thing.
With who?
With code.
Code enforcement?
I think they're the ones that took that over.
The business of the month?
Right, the business look of the month, the yard of the month.
Oh, the yard of the month.
For a business.
I can check with Shelby and see.
And see if we
Yeah.
can get that moving
Yeah.
forward and get some flowers and stuff out there. Try to beautify our town a little bit.
Right.
So that's all I have really. Oh, Surfside has St. Patty's Day Parade Saturday.
Oh, yes. I hate to
I'm
miss
going.
that. That's usually a really great parade. A lot of people.
I'll be a judge and I take certain objects. Y'all need help.
Okay, David, that sounds good. Okay, Ken, do you have any comments?
I worked in my yard most of the day, mainly this afternoon, but it reminded me, how's our mowing project?
It's-
The new company that we
They're
hired.
doing fine. Fortunately, there have been no complaints about them. They're mowing on schedule. We're keeping an eye on the budget, and I don't have any complaints.
I have something to add to that. I talked to Joe today, to Joe,
Okay.
the contractor, and the reason being is we have a lot of the palm fronds down on the riverfront and some other stuff that's not being picked up. So him and I are gonna go around tomorrow and locate all that stuff, and he's gonna make sure they get cleaned up.
It's cleaned up, okay. All I can say is I'm happy about that because of all the stuff we had going on last year, so.
So, I don't really have much either. I do have maybe a question and a comment. So, do we do anything like when a business opens and, do we go out and welcome them, like bring anything or like maybe a welcome packet or goodies or to welcome them and thank them for opening a business here in Freeport? Just because I know the picket fence opened, right? And I was just curious to see if they were gonna be doing, I don't know, a grand opening or a ribbon cutting or something. I mean, that's busy. I mean, I've been going there. So, I know people know it's open, but just to recognize and support the businesses they're opening, are we going to those businesses?
We try to get to as many as we can,
Mm-hmm.
and with in particular picket fence, we have been calling, and haven't gotten a reply. But I mean, they're from what Shelby tells me, they're rocking and rolling. So yes, the answer is we often work in conjunction with the chamber, the Hispanic chamber, or just ourselves, and go out. We typically bring them as Rachel calls it, a swag bag, with some of the promotional items that we upgraded a year ago or so, or maybe a little longer, with the cups and the other stuff. So yes, the answer is yes, as much as possible.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. That's all I have, so if you have any of your own
Yes.
comments.
First off, I appreciate the work and the support from the board, as always. We met, as I alluded to earlier, with Jason Williams, a developer. He's looking at doing a lot of, he develops homes, and also he does some commercial, looking at, especially at the downtown. So we met with him along with Code and Main Street, and have been guiding them to different properties. I won't call the name of the person because that might be confidential right now, but the 131 West Broad, he's interested in buying that. We put him together with the owner, and that may help. Look at your director's report, it's spelled out in there. Dino, I also forgot, we met with him, but I forgot to say, he's also the owner of the old Barcadia building. So we're looking at who can go in there and what we can do for the Barcadia building. I already talked about the 380 agreement. Starbucks reached out to us, and I've talked to Ronnie about this, asked for some help. Starbucks reached out because they would like to get more people in Starbucks. And so this not only was Gabby Milan, the manager, but it was also the regional manager. And I met with them, and we talked about ways that we could help, and we're willing to do anything. I also talked to Lance. Lance is willing that they can use city property at the entryways and things. They haven't identified yet, but they were kind of poking around with what could we do. And to do advertising or banners, you'll notice that they've got those banners out there right now. And so we're working with them on a marketing plan. And I feel a little bit of, and I think Lance does too, because we talked about this, I'm not saying they're going out of business or anything like that, but they were impacted, greatly impacted, because their business depends so much on water. And 3 times now we've had to shut the water down because of and I explained it a couple meetings ago that we've got those new valves that they're installing, so that shouldn't be as much of a problem. But we want to help them out as much as possible, and I that's why I kind of feel a little bit of a sense of a special obligation, because of the times that they've closed. And if you recall, a couple months ago, I wrote in the report how much they lost each time they were closed. So we're working on developing marketing for them. I'm going to have lunch with Ronnie and put our heads together to see what we can do. and they're very happy for the assistance. Mhm. Yes, good. Good. Right. And we're spreading the word. When we had our business development breakfast, the owner of Mi Pueblito did not know. He has some kind of gathering every Sunday at his business, and did not know that you could get those containers with the coffee in them that we had at the business development breakfast. And so, doing things like spreading that word, getting them on our Facebook page, the city's Facebook page, doing some advertisement. And also I encourage them to definitely, and they're doing a good job. They're definitely out, they've established a presence, but kick that up a little bit. And also they're working up the chain, because I'd be remiss to Ronnie if I didn't mention they're also becoming a member of the chamber. It just takes, they have to go up certain levels of management just to get authorization to do something that simple. So, but I said, the chamber can really help you, but you have to be a member, so anyway. Next month, I don't think this will be a problem, but if you recall, we put the moratorium for the Hurricane Beryl, and work can begin, and the moratorium on the rule that you can't begin work until you are awarded a contract. I'm working with the Freeport Veterans Clinic and Dr. Cody Gordell. He came to us a couple months ago, and then one of his assistants came and picked up a packet, and I reached out to him, and I've got a meeting scheduled with him on Thursday. He is filling out the packet. Now, what I just want to confirm with the board that this is good. Obviously, he intends to be at next month's meeting to request a business development grant, business improvement grant, excuse me. And we gave the deadline as April 1st for the moratorium on work that began. And my thinking, and please, this is where I'm asking if I'm wrong, is that as long as he gets that application to our office by April 1st, we can bring it to the meeting, and he's not going to be penalized for the meeting being, later in the month, right? Does that make sense? I mean, we said the deadline is April 1st, and so if the application is in, okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Didn't say he had to be before us.
Right.
Okay.
I agree. I mean, Ken, David, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
We're good with that then.
And then, an office thing. We've got the conference room table up in the office, and we use it probably 8 times a month. I mean, we do use it. It's not heavily used, but it's used enough. And we inherited some chairs up there that are nice chairs, and they've got the wheels and all that. Well, they're a little bit older, and the wheels have been breaking off. And I reached out to some of our public works folks and asked, can they be repaired? And then I got to Rudy Regal, who's the director of public work, and he said he could fix them. But he said, Robert, you need to get one of those plastic where chairs go on. This would be a big one. So Rachel has looked into prices, and I mean, just trying to find somebody that makes that kind of thing was a challenge. And it would be about $1,000, $1,300, somewhere in there. And I just wanted to let the board know I'm gonna go ahead and get that. I mean, we've got the budget for it, but I just, then we can get our chair. We looked at getting new chairs, and that would be a lot more expensive than just getting this plastic thing and letting Rudy fix the chair, and then it won't keep breaking because it'll be on that surface.
So that's the one that your chairs sit on to roll?
Yeah, the little
Yeah, the
plastic,
plastic
at
thing?
the office that a lot of offices have, where the chairs are on
right.
plastic so they can roll on carpet. Rudy suggested, highly suggested that we get that, because then the wheels on the chairs that are in the conference room, for those of you that have been in the conference room, won't keep breaking off.
So there's a new one that's made out of glass.
No, I didn't know that.
supposed to be better, and it has a lifetime warranty. Because the plastic ones will eventually,
Break?
I don't know the price.
Sorry, the company that I'm showing you on the screen, they also do glass versions of that. This is just one quote for the plastic one, but they have all different kinds. So if you have a suggestion that you want us to go with, please just let me know. And they've got thousands of different types of mats in the larger size.
And I always believe in getting the quality thing that's not going to break, but I also would say this is still in the air as to whether we're going to be at this city hall or the other city hall. So we kind of have to balance it. I still would probably say go with the good one. Would you agree?
If you're gonna spend money, you know what, it's always, the reality is, spend a little more money and get the best and don't replace it.
Okay.
You can buy cheap pots and pans and you're gonna replace
you're
them in
gonna
about
replace
6
them.
months, or spend
Yeah.
$600 and never replace them.
Okay, we'll
So-
we'll look into the glass one then.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Finally, what I said, the big moment here, the alley project and the moving of the infrastructure at the 8.88 acres. Lance and I have been in discussion with that. Lance had been having some problems getting a hold of the person at Centerpoint, and I saw the emails where they said, oh yeah, just call this 1-800 number. And anyway, I won't go too far into that, but he said, Robert, before we do that project, Centerpoint has got to bury those lines, and he said, I would like to have a meeting. And I said, well, you know, what's the deal? And he said, I can't get a hold of them. They'll just say, call this number, and then, you know, and he showed me the emails. So I reached out to the economic developer, Cam Yeardley, that's on staff there, and instantly got a hold of him. So when Lance gets back, we will be meeting at downtown. I haven't set that meeting up, but we'll set it up when he gets back so we can look at his schedule and get Centerpoint out there. And then, again, those need to be buried more, as I understand it. That's Centerpoint's thing to do. And certainly Cam rolled out the red carpet, said, is there any other way I can help you with your downtown plan and your Gensler plan? And so dialogue has started. And so Lance, just before he was leaving, is pleased that happened so quickly that we were able to get a hold of them. So yes, it's going to proceed, but the next step, we've gotten a hold of Centerpoint. We need to meet with them and say, this is what it needs to be, as Lance said, an on-site meeting, and we're all there looking at it, and so everybody's on the same page of what needs to be done, and then we can proceed with the repave of the alley.
Okay,
That's my update.
thank you, Robert. So it looks like we're moving to the executive session.
I have one other thing
Oh,
I'd
you-
forgot
okay, you wanna
about. The deli, which is on Velasco, new little restaurant in town. And I went in, talked to them, gave them my card, and they're supposed to be calling the office because they have some exterior improvements they would like to do to the
The
property.
deli, I
Deli.
was in there and talked to him.
Okay.
Yes.
What, where is it?
Yeah, there's a place that opened, it's in your director's report, but it opened recently, and it's called the Deli. And they are just getting started, and they said they've got some more improvements, and obviously David saw them, and I also went in there and had lunch the other day and introduced myself, and they had known me, but through phone calls, because we're working with code enforcement and, helping to act as liaison to set meetings up and things like that. So yes, I'm aware of that.
See that? Oh, I didn't even see that.
It's in the, where the fifth generation was
Okay.
located.
Oh, okay.
And
I
I've
didn't
heard
even-
it's really good. I haven't tried it.
I need to
yet.
try it. Okay,
Yep.
good. Okay, so moving forward, so we can go to the executive session.
Yes, it's announced the time, 6:50.
So it is 6:54, and we're closing the regular session and moving over to the executive session. So
Sandra, just for, read
Okay.
the whole statement.
it's
I'm sorry.
now 6:55. p.m., I hereby recess the regular session of the Freeport Economic Development Corporation meeting, and I do hereby convey into the executive session in compliance with the Texas Government Code Section 551.071.55107.087